International rewarded them by coming up. One of the things I meant to say earlier is that I personally see a great opportunity for intergenerational relations here. In fact, if we have a preponderance of folks over 35, over 50 here, we have a tremendous amount of wisdom. And I bring that up now, and we'll probably revert back to it later, because Children International brought up as the 15 young people's chaperones NGO leaders in the field from Latin America. So you had an NGO leader in the field in Latin America coming with a young person as their chaperone. Now, unfortunately, prior to the NGO DPI conference last September in Mexico City, there were very few NGOs from Latin America in the UN structure, especially in the DPI affiliation structure. So what Children International allowed us to do was bring people from the developing world, bring young people from Latin America, and bring them with NGO leaders who were then encouraged to affiliate with DPI. And through that effort and the DPI NGO conference led by Maria Luisa Chavez at DPI NGO, Jeffrey Huffines on the NGO DPI side, and many others, we found that the number of NGOs and youth-based NGOs in particular from Latin America grew exponentially during that period. So that was a very good effort in terms of creating the kind of outreach that Friendship Ambassadors Foundation is known for. Friendship Ambassadors Foundation, although it is a New York and Connecticut-based organization, has very strong ties for many decades with the developing world in Africa, Asia, Latin America, Central and Eastern Europe, etc. And so we are assiduous, we are really hardworking in ensuring that our staff and interns speak to our colleagues around the world in the developing world to ensure that they know about the program and that they're able to attend. One of the other things is that we have found that several other programs on youth leadership and youth relations with the UN, outside of the UN structure, outside of global model UNs or the cyber school bus, actually charge a rather hefty fee for their registration. There's one that actually takes place that'll go unmentioned around the summertime when we're here that charges as much as $1,100 a person. Well, this also increases the situation where the developed world has the edge over everyone else because they can monetize and register their young people. So what we have done was made our registration fee between $95 for an individual from the Western world down to $45, depending on if you are coming with a group or an individual from least developed countries. So this small registration fee does help produce the event, but the event would cost an immense amount of money had we just taken this as if we were an outside organization and had to charge that kind of large fee. What we have done has been to work very closely, again to your question of how we don't wish to just duplicate efforts that aren't in coordination with others. We work very closely with the Department of Public Information, with Mr. Eric Falt, Lily Schindler, Vivian Bernstein, and their staff at DPI in the UN, and we are sponsored and endorsed by permanent missions to the United Nations. Our lead endorser this year is the country of Finland. Prior to that, for several years, it was the country of Hungary. Before that, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So the relationship we have forged with the United Nations, and in particular with the permanent missions, have allowed us to come into the building during a very quiet period in August, admittedly, and utilize the services and the venues of the United Nations for free, essentially, and we pass this savings along to young people around the world. And lastly, your comment about the internet. Well, that actually answers the first question. This is how the Youth Assembly for the United Nations, at the United Nations, and with the United Nations has been able to be such a global success. The internet is a powerful tool and a powerful ally to Friendship Ambassadors Foundation in this regard, as well as our Facebook site, our blogs, our continual outreach during all of our other programs around the world. And let me just close by saying one other very, I think, important fact that has been developing now with Fairleigh Dickinson University, and even slightly previously last year, and that has been the inclusion of many young people from China. China, which is sort of on the border between being a fully developed and developing nation, has not been as interested in international affairs, nor has seen its youth, as well as others from China, heavily involved in UN activities in the past. Through the Educational Association for China Tomorrow, working alongside Fairleigh Dickinson University and Dr. Murphy at the Global Pathways program, we have been able to attract this year 100 Chinese youth leaders who are coming from several regions of China. Last year we had 76, and those young people, is the first time for us to bring a contingent of Chinese youth delegates to the Youth Assembly. They came and coming from Beijing, coming from youth leadership positions, coming from other areas like Guangzhou and Shanghai and other smaller regions, some who had lived through the Sichuan province earthquake, others who were medal winners at the 2009 Olympics in Beijing. So it was a great cross-section of young people. And one of the things that we've created is a cultural exchange program that is occurring after the Youth Assembly this year in a leadership exchange taking place at Fairleigh Dickinson University, which will bring together the 100 young people, approximately 16 to 18 years old, from China, with approximately the same number of young people from the United States. You can find out more information about that either through Fairleigh Dickinson University's UN Global Pathways program or through Friendship Ambassadors Foundation, and we heartily encourage all young people, let's say in the 16 to 20-year-old range, to come and be part of that program with our Chinese youth. I think this will be a very exciting opportunity and will build upon the international relations that we have been able to create between youth and the United Nations. So I hope that addresses some of those questions.
Can I ask whether you're going to have this youth assembly? Will the youth assembly be webcast?
This year we are trying to work that out right now. It's a little premature to speak about that. However, an ongoing interest we have had has been to link the Youth Assembly up with other external forces, such as perhaps Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, or Yahoo, Google, and others, to see if we could work on the highest level possible there. I must say, though, that we have become fascinated with this tool called the Internet, and it seems to be something that we think will resolve all issues because it enables us to speak in real time in our own homes. But it is just a tool. Like this pencil, it is merely a tool. One of the things I have always loved about the theater, as opposed to film and TV, is that it's live. And although we do not need to be live, the Friendship Ambassadors Foundation has as its core a mission to create opportunities to meet each other in live formats. We often use culture or the arts as our way of creating that opportunity, and we often feel that aside from business, religion, and politics, meeting each other on cultural levels, creating the opportunity to network around very important issues face to face, enables a process of peace building. So we are not shy about saying that we are anxious to actually see and meet people here, and will do as much as possible to enable that process, while we are also looking to create a webcast and other opportunities as well.
We're going to open this to questions from the participating universities, but I have to ask Dr. Murphy, what is the order in which the questions have to be asked? Who goes first among the 4 universities.